Warning: the following program contains historical material describing orders and actions from the Second World War that advocated violence. This material is presented for educational and analytical purposes only and is not intended to glorify or promote violence or extremist ideology.
Von jetzt ab sind alle bei sogenannten Kommandounternehmen in Europa oder in Afrika von deutschen Truppen gestellte Gegner bis auf den letzten Mann niederzumachen. Dies gilt sowohl, wenn es sich äußerlich um Soldaten in Uniform oder um Zerstörertrupps mit und ohne Waffen handelt. Selbst wenn diese Subjekte bei ihrer Auffindung scheinbar Anstalten machen sollten, sich gefangen zu geben, ist ihnen grundsätzlich jeder Pardon zu verweigern und sie sind hinzurichten.
In the autumn of 1942, a secret directive from the German High Command changed the rules of capture for thousands of Allied raiders. Known in German as the Commando Order, the Commando Order instructed that captured commandos were to be killed without trial, even if they wore uniforms or surrendered. This is the story of that order, the legal and moral consequences that followed, and the impossible choices it forced on medics and chaplains embedded with raiding units. By 1942, the Allies were experimenting with raids and special operations, small, sharp attacks behind enemy lines designed to sabotage, gather intelligence or tie down enemy forces. High-profile raids and the German perception of their conduct fed a growing fury in Berlin. Raids like Dieppe and various commando actions produced headlines and anger. The German leadership saw these as irregular threats that, in their view, deserved exceptional measures. On the 18th October 1942, the Commando Order was issued. It was secret, sweeping, and brutal. Allied raiders, the document said, were to be annihilated, whether in uniform or not, whether armed or unarmed, whether trying to surrender or attempting escape. Under the accepted laws of war at the time, uniformed combatants captured in battle are entitled to prisoner of war status and protections. The Commando Order explicitly contradicted those principles. It directed summary execution. That made it a direct violation of international law and, after the war, one of the bases for criminal prosecutions. In the field, the order meant that captured raiders could be shot, handed to security services, or sent to places where they had little hope of release. Several documented cases after specific raids showed how the directive was implemented, and after the war these implementations became evidence at trials. Medics and chaplains traditionally hold non-combatant status under the laws of war. They wear protective emblems, provide care, and are not supposed to fight, but raiding operations blurred these roles. Commandos operated behind enemy lines, where capture often meant immediate danger. If the enemy had a standing policy of executing raiders, being marked with a medical emblem could become a liability. The result was a stark choice: remain visibly non-combatant and risk being executed anyway, or carry a weapon for self-defense and risk forfeiting legal protection. In practice, many medics carried small arms, not because they wanted to fight, but because on a raiding party you simply could not guarantee survival otherwise. It was a grim calculus, law, ethics, and immediate survival all in conflict. The Commando Order stands as a stark example of how policy can strip away legal safeguards and create moral chaos. After the war, commanders who issued or implemented the order were prosecuted. The rulings reinforced the principle that unlawful orders, particularly those requiring the killing of prisoners, are crimes. For medics and chaplains, the legacy is painful. The law protects non-combatants, but protection is only as effective as the enemy's willingness to respect it. When that willingness disappears, individuals face impossible choices. History here teaches 3 lessons. 1. Legal protections in war matter, and violating them has consequences. 2. Special operations raise unique ethical and legal issues that must be anticipated and addressed by commanders. 3. The human cost of reprisal policies falls heavily on individuals who serve in support roles, sometimes forcing them to choose between legal status and survival. The Commando Order remains a cautionary chapter of the Second World War, a reminder that law, policy, and the raw pressures of combat can collide with devastating effect. For medics and chaplains, the dilemma it created endures as a moral problem for military planners and legal advisors alike. This has been a factual account for educational purposes. For sources and further reading, consult academic histories of special operations in World War II, the transcripts of post-war tribunals, and international humanitarian law texts on the status of non-combatants.